Greetings everyone, I'm Jason Ross Jr. Welcome into the third of 10 women's soccer broadcasts right here on the LTU Sports Network. This broadcast will be different than just about every other broadcast we've done for just about every other sport we've done because of the fact that it will be the first ever under the light sporting event in LTU athletics history. And it kicks off a weekend of milestones here on LTSN. Tomorrow we'll have the first football game since 1946 at 1 p.m. right here on LTSN. And diving into tonight's matchup, the Blue Devils return home after suffering their first loss of the season earlier this week against Rio Grande University. They come into this one at 2-1 on the season. Their opponent, Roosevelt, comes up from Chicago at 0-1 on the season. The Blue Devils will hope to get back to what they did so well through those first two games when Andy Richards felt that the utilization of the newly installed 3-5-2 formation really presented the width, and the back line had a couple of great performances as well. A very passionate group at their best, and they'll hope to continue it this afternoon against Roosevelt. The Lakers come in having lost a player in Monica Munoz who would have returned the most goals from last year, would have returned the most assists from last year, so certainly a hit to their offensive productivity. In the offseason, the focus for Roosevelt was on shoring up the midfield and shoring up the defensive side of things, so it'll be interesting to see how things play out. Once again, the first ever under the light sporting event here at the LTU Athletic Field coming your way on the LTU Sports Network. The lights shine bright on the LTU athletic field as the Devils have aspirations to bounce back after suffering their first loss of the season earlier this week. The Roosevelt Lakers in town looking to kickstart their offense. And we're underway. The Blue Devils looking to get things going with Lauren Wozniak, the sophomore who has had such a excellent mental connection early on with her fellow forward Caitlin Mather as they streak down the right-hand side, moving on in. And the flags go up. Alexis Orozco, the junior, and she'll play it up. Roosevelt, you wonder how long they'll be pinned back in their own half of the field this afternoon as the Blue Devil forwards hope to spark the offense back and recreate what we saw through the first two games on the home turf. Obviously, the first ever Under the Lights sporting event has commenced here at the LTU Athletic Field, and it's Caitlin Mather scooting it on over to Madison Bologna. She'll work her way up, looking to engineer something on the left-hand side. Nybor, Silverman looking back for Nybor. That was McClay, rather, on the near side. Madison Smith, her second start of the season. And it's the senior, Jordan Messing, down that side and out of play where Madison Smith, who we often see taking that role of the throw-in, she'll deliver it down. And going after it is Wozniak, looking to work her way and sealed off rather well there. It was the 60th minute that saw the clincher that put the first loss in the column for the Blue Devils down at Rio Grande earlier this week. It was a tie game until the 60th minute. LTU earlier this week went down there, and they'll try to regroup tonight as Mather now has it, and she'll play it up. Wozniak. Up ahead for Gutierrez. The Blue Devils controlling the midfield early on, as we saw them do so well through those first two games. Here's Elaine Nybor. Every time the ball gets on her right foot, you think something might be close to happening. And Blue Devils try to methodically progress their way up the field here. Coach Richards had quite the quote on Nybor, saying that, you know, when Allie gets the ball on her feet, everyone moves to the edge of their seat because they know something could happen, and we hope to see that in this half of the field as Wozniak approaches there, trying to get their bearings down. Haven't quite done it so far. Both teams still settling in, and the Blue Devils early on possessing that possession percentage advantage, and as we expect them to for the majority of this one. Roosevelt lost Monica Munoz in the offseason, who would have returned the most goals, would have returned the most assists. So certainly a hit to their offensive production. Moving in here comes Wozniak, and coming out of her net to make that save was Madison Turley. Cara Jones, rather, making the start for the Lakers this afternoon. And on the other side, Madison Turley for the Blue Devils. Unexpectedly playing the goalkeeper role due to injuries. Renee Anderson and Rebecca Almendoz have spent most of the time defending the LTU net, as we see Nybor here with a little open space, carving her way through, serpentining her way through. Over to Silverman. Blue Devils in that what is apparent a 3-5-2 formation for tonight, They've utilized the width so well in that newly installed formation for head coach Andy Richards. He feels that the options that they possess, the depth that they possess, and the options off the bench particularly can really help this team. Here's Madison Smith. Didn't start the first game, but now she's starting to get in a groove, making a run down that right-hand side. Wozniak plays it back up to Smith. She's got McClay as well, moving down. A nice job from the Lakers to get back there. It was Alexis Orozco, the junior from Schaumburg, Illinois, the transfer from Harper Community College, one of 13 newcomers for this Roosevelt team that has seen quite a bit of turnover, coming off their best season in program history, 7-10, taking subtle steps towards what could be a bright future, a program that has struggled really over the past 4 years ago, but has built themselves up now under head coach Ronald Hahn. Along with you losing Monica Munoz, the Lakers also lost Anna Agbula, who was their leading goal scorer a year ago, and naturally, obviously, they lost her to graduation. Here's Smith. The crosser, header! Almost off, and the Blue Devils just nearly almost putting one in the net of Cara Jones there. It was the low cross from Smith and the opportunity that almost saw the first goal go up on the newly installed video board here at the LTU Athletic Field as we see Marie-Anne Torres winning the ball rather well there. She's done that so well early on this season, just collapsing and meeting players as the ball meets them. And, you know, Laura Silverman had an excellent quote earlier as we see moving in here, trying to make an effort at it, was Wozniak. Laura Silverman called that back line a group of Bulldogs, and they certainly fit that title, finding their way back when necessary. Just passionate. Not allowing for opponents to have any leeway, any room. McClay. Torres will give chase. Abby Hand. On over to Calderon. And Messing will settle it down. Silverman chases after it, but getting there first was Alexis Kane, the freshman from Oregon, Wisconsin. McClay looking to win a race down the right-hand side, and the ball just barely beats her out. Nine minutes into this one shot on goal for the Blue Devils. Mather. Chasing after it here comes Nybor, stripped there. A nice job of sealing off the gaps from the Lakers, and they'll play it back. Messing tries to sell it down, but fortuitously up into the hands of Roosevelt. Torres doing a nice job to win that battle as a tad bit of open space started to appear in front of the eyes of Alicia Gutierrez. Silverman. Mather doing a nice job in the midfield as Smith was making a run down the right-hand side there. We spoke about the Lakers' need to try to find offensive production. They lost 1-0 in their opener. It was an overtime loss. But looking to get their bearings down offensively, and they have increased their production as things have opened up a little bit over the past few minutes or so, and somewhat turned in favor of the Lakers as the Blue Devils try to get out of their own half. Jordan Messing carrying it up, one of the senior leaders on this Blue Devil team. Laura Silverman, the transfer from the University of Detroit Mercy, works it up to Smith. Stalked by a couple of green jerseys and stripped loose. Smith will loft it down that side here for Wozniak. She's been active early on. Wozniak played club for the Michigan Jaguars. Her teammate Madison Smith, as we've seen them bunched up a little bit early on here down that right-hand side, also played with the Jaguars. Wozniak appeared in all 17 matches last season. Had 4 goals as a freshman. And she scored in the last home game against Shawnee State. She's been active really here. Torres pressing up high. Back into the midfield. A little bump, and now it goes to Bologna. In search of Wozniak once more. This is Maddie Hall. Up ahead to Zoe Bazila. And she was in search of Calderon, the junior, but couldn't quite have the connection. Bazila tries to settle it down once more. Mather in the middle of things, disrupting any kind of an effort there. Nybor, she has the license to control when she would like. And Madison Smith will try to use her speed here. Plenty of energy. Plenty of speed. In a rather swift fashion, able to move the ball down the pitch for the Blue Devils. Trying to establish that width early on. They'll see a corner kick here coming from Elaine Nybor. Blue Devils took 4 corners against Rio Grande on Tuesday. Here it comes in. The header is once again off the ricochet of Silverman as she tried to make an effort at it last minute on the far post, but couldn't quite make anything out of it. Alexis Orozco looking to navigate her way out of trouble. Finds Bezila. Back to Orozco, the junior from Schaumburg, Illinois. Working against Bologna. An aggressive, hard-fought battle there. McClay chasing after it here. She's got Wozniak trailing. Heading to the net was Mather. But a nice job to win that ball and win that challenge from Orozco, who got back. She seems to be active early on. Alexis Orozco. And now the Blue Devils look to apply pressure once more. That was Wozniak, who's worked her way over to that left side. The Blue Devils at 7-10-1 a year ago, a successful couple of off-season scrimmages. They opened the season up 2-0, suffered their first loss on Tuesday, and now looking to bounce back as the low cross comes in. McClay, Bologna with a tad bit of momentum. That opportunity for the third time. We see one soar just wide for the Blue Devils. Wozniak on back to Silverman. Down it goes for Mather, patiently awaiting the ball. Stalked cautiously there by Orozco. And now she'll play it on back to McClay. She had aspirations to find Bologna, but couldn't quite do it. Here's Orozco once more. And Gutierrez will chase after it to no avail. Messing. Roosevelt holding their ground over there early on. A couple of times the Blue Devils have squeaked through, but ultimately the Lakers have been able to hold strong, sealing the way off even when back under pressure, hoping to stay compact here, but slipping in behind. This appears to be Wozniak, and couldn't quite make anything out of it. A nice job to get back once more. Very passionate job early on from that back line of Roosevelt. They've kept it up for nearly 20 minutes now. But the second corner will be on the way once again off the foot. It will come from Elaine Nybor. The cross, near post, goes back. Smith was in the vicinity, chasing it down here. There goes Erica Hoffman, the freshman defender from Hopkins High School, Midwest United Club Soccer. Zoe Bazila, one of the few Michiganders on this Roosevelt team, returning home. A little lovely foot there from Gutierrez. And now she'll work her way down a little bit of space. First time we've really seen any kind of an opportunity for the Lakers approaching here, but doing a nice job was Madison Smith to clear it out of there under pressure. Back they go for Gutierrez. The Chicago native tries to center it there. Shot on goal and a nice, calm, poised job done by the freshman Madison Turley, making her debut out of Romeo High School for the Blue Devils. Calm and collected early on. Calm and collected down the near side comes Elaine Nybor. Looking to work her way past Madison Erickson. Erickson from Cedar Rapids, Iowa, did a nice job there. The only Iowa native on that Roosevelt roster and the only Iowa native on the field this afternoon. One of four freshmen who could see significant time on the back line for the Lakers. Ronald Hahn says he has a great bunch of ladies and that they're a fun group to work with. They certainly put forth the effort in that opener. And he did speak on replacing the talents of Monica Munoz and company. He said replacing an incredible talent like Monica isn't easy, but we do have great leaders on this team and leaders who will guide and encourage everyone to be their best. It was Elaine Weichart sealing the deal in the 99th minute for the University of St. Francis in that 1-0 loss in the opener for Roosevelt. Bologna. Silverman looking to squeak her way through and does with a persistent effort there. Nybor looking for McClay but couldn't quite find anything. Coming out of her net rather dangerously was Cara Jones there. Jones had a 7-10 record a season ago. 172 saves on the season. Spent a little over 1,500 minutes in goal. Trying to work her way down here is Gutierrez, who has some nifty footwork there, working against Torres. That's a nice battle to watch there. Torres going up against Gutierrez. Junior against senior action, and the leadership of the senior prevails that time around. Torres, who talked about how fun it would be to have that home field advantage in the opening game of the season, and now it is truly a home field advantage for the Blue Devils tonight, as nightfall isn't quite here yet, but the lights are shining bright on these Blue Devils, and we hope for a bright match to unfold before our eyes. It's been a battle early on, a seesaw with both teams trying to gain the necessary position. Both teams trying to avoid their second loss of the season, what could be their second losses of the season. Mather. Long galloping strides with a spirit of adventure down the near side. Looking. Finds Shupback. Tries to work her way free. Shupback coming in off the bench as a substitution. One of the ample amounts of options that the Blue Devils can inject into a game when needed. And that has been an advantage early on in those first two victories. Something that head coach Andy Richards has spoken about. In practice, the Blue Devils have been working on a drill that is meant for connecting those passes in the midfield. Here we go, working in and scoring! It's McClay. And that brings this Blue Devil crowd to their feet. Notching the first goal on the board, Lawrence Tech open for business here under the lights, their new home field advantage, and it's working well for them early on. Sydney McClay, the freshman from Romeo, Michigan. She's lived up to expectations early on. Her third goal of the season. She's been strong on the ball and very active, assisted on the lone goal against Rio Grande. That was her second goal of the season, pardon me. Torres finds Nybor. Now here's Shupback. A little bit of open space for Nybor. She'll opt to work it towards the middle of the field. Shupback trying to navigate her way through, fortuitously on back to Nybor. One 0 Blue Devils after the Sydney McClay goal. And they've begun to ride that momentum in the subsequent minutes. Silverman. Alexis Kane. Nice header won there by Sullivan. Sullivan started 12 of 15 games a year ago for the Lakers. Here's McClay looking to build off of what she did to make it 1-0. That's Wozniak. Nybor will make a run. Her very presence brings up a feeling of tension for the opposition as it settles down there. Mather was taken down. No flags raised. The Blue Devils will keep possession, though. It's Nybor. Incredulous looks on the faces of the Blue Devils there, as we didn't hear or see any indication from the officials. Hall. Blue Devils beginning to apply the pressure now. Shupback. Making a run there off the bench goes Alexis Barnes. Barnes, the sophomore from Middleville, Michigan at 5'4", Thornapple Kellogg High School. 1 goal, 3 assists, and 5 points a season ago for Barnes. The interior architecture major. McClay. Working her way ahead goes Maddie Hall. One 0 Blue Devils as we near the 30th minute. Shupback sends it right back on in for McClay. The assassin early on for the Blue Devils, Sydney McClay. Not enough room for her there, but we'll certainly continue to see her in an active state. Silverman breaking free. Brennan Sullivan back on for Gutierrez. Side of the field where we've seen Madison Smith and Lauren Wozniak have such a nice start applying the pressure, and following that act up has been Alexis Barnes and Sydney McClay. And here is Barnes in the vicinity of Mather, but popped on back. Looking to break through here, attempting was McClay once more. That'll allow for Barnes to chase back after it. The chemistry and the connection continuing so far for the Blue Devils on the home turf as Torres and Bologna head out for a breather as the substitutions begin to increase during these minutes where fatigue can play a factor. Final 15 minutes of the opening half here at the LTU Athletic Field. Once again, the chance will present itself. Elaine Nybor will be the possible architect, looking to deliver here out of the corner. The crosser goes in! Little chance, and stepping out and falling and collapsing went Cara Jones. Shupback, the freshman, plays it back as the Blue Devils patiently will work their way up. Now they'll look to do it in a bit quicker fashion. It's Mather. Low cross. Comes in. Into the box. And the nice play once again made by Cara Jones. The senior poised for the most part through this first half. Blue Devils have really been sprinting hard early on here to get those 2 or 3 extra yards of space that can really enable you to spring off your marker, and we've seen that early on here, and I think that's been the real indication of why they've won this possession battle as the lighting begins to become a tad bit more apparent here at the Lawrence Tech Athletic Field. Shupback and Silverman. She'll look, and she'll find Sydney Everett, the junior, looking down the pitch there. Back up it goes, and that'll allow Randy Jeanette to chase after it. The junior from Holly now finds herself in a defensive position and does a nice job to challenge and win that challenge there. Now up to Shupback they go. Into the midfield. looking to work her way. Shupback did a nice job of staying strong in the ball. Building up the anticipation of something that could possibly come here. Trying to settle it down goes Sarah Trapp. Nybor leads her in. It was Mather, but spiking it high. Couldn't quite settle it down. Looks like it hopped up on her as she approached the area. About 10 minutes to go here in the first half. Another lovely opportunity might have presented itself there for the Blue Devils to potentially make it 2-0. They currently hold a 1-0 lead off the Sydney McClay goal, her second of the season. Silverman. Here's Silverman once more. Stripped free there by Brennan Sullivan, who will have to be one of the leaders on this Roosevelt team from the Michigan Aero Soccer Club. Nybor, sure to be an impact player for the Blue Devils this year, and has been. There's no question about that. And she's been quite active early on. Looking up here is Shupback. Such a great option off the bench. Up to Mather. Settling things down patiently. Ayanna Reed off the bench. Back it goes. Sydney Everett's, from Dansville, Michigan. Still Everett's. Ayanna Reed making a run. Nybor. Mather on a little half turn. Making a beautiful play there was Alexis Orozco. Cutting off the open space there. Randy Jeanette did a nice job to get back. Jeanette, such a great personality off the field. The media comm major returns from playing all 17 games a season ago for the Blue Devils. One of 5 juniors that you might find patrolling that back line for the Blue Devils. The back line has been so tenacious early on this season, and they've done quite well again tonight. When they have been threatened, they've held their ground. Back the other way. Here comes Nybor, edge of the area. A shot that hooks lefts. Back on it goes Ayanna Reed. As these fans, the Blue Devil supporters, with satisfaction watching there on the edge of their seats. Here at this newly renovated LTU athletic field, the seats were just installed a couple of days ago. Room for 1,600. Making room for what will be a momentous occasion tomorrow afternoon right here on the LTU Sports Network. The first football game since 1946. The Blue Devils going up against the Golden Grizzlies at 1 p.m. on the LTU Sports Network as Nybor delivers one wide left there. Not too much to worry about that time for Cara Jones. Jones played 45 minutes and made 3 saves in that opening loss to St. Francis. She'll deliver here. Fortuitously back it goes for Sarah Trapp. Not the clearance that the Lakers were hoping for, and that could have been dangerous had Trapp had maybe 1 or 2 more reinforcements. I don't think anyone was expecting that kick to be such a rather weak one, and that almost set the Blue Devils in a good position. And now they'll look to work themselves back into good position. Down that right-hand side goes Sarah Trapp, the senior, looking for space there with under 6 to play now in this opening half. Blue Devils lead 1-0, looking to carry this lead into the half. History certainly favors them in this matchup. Blue Devils have won all 3 games they have played against the Lakers, the most recent matchup being in 2016. where they won in Chicago by a score of 3-2. Rebecca Almendoz, who was out this afternoon, was in that one, and she made 9 saves right after being named the WAC Defensive Player of the Week. Tallied 15 saves in that most recent matchup that came a couple of years back between these two squads. Although these teams now reinvented from 2016 under Ronald Hahn and Andy Richards leading the way for the Blue Devils with his excellent coaching staff early on. Coach Richards in his 3rd season, 3 years ago, he said, "I am very lucky and excited to build the program at Lawrence Tech into something special, something that everyone can be excited about." And these Blue Devil fans have felt excited this afternoon, certainly filled with energy in what is a moment that will be edged into the history of Blue Devil athletics as the lights continue to gradually shine brighter here at the LTU Athletic Field. Head coach Andy Richards also said a couple of years ago that the hard work is expected both in the classroom and on the field. These players have certainly lived up to those expectations, and he brings players in that can live up to those expectations. It was the freshman Sydney McClay living up to her high hopes for her first year on campus, putting one in the back of the net and making it 1-0 as we edge closer to the break. Sydney Everett's, Sarah Trapp, scanning with her head up. Appeared to have intentions there for Delaney Chalker, the freshman. Julia James will make her way in these final few minutes. 5'7" sophomore from Oxford, Michigan, one of 7 sophomores trying to make an impression here. Clearly with intentions to make that impression early on. They'll look for James down that near side with energy. Couldn't quite make anything out of it. James. And the header goes back out and in favor of the Lakers. Sarah Trapp, once again, the Lakers unable to make it out of their own half. Edge of the area looking to work her way in. That was Delaney Chalker off the bench and with haste and with energy, feeding off of this crowd. The energy is certainly palpable as we approach the final 90 seconds of this half. It's Ayanna Reed working her way up there. Ayanna Reed, the 5'7" junior from Windsor. Now back to Shutback. And that lace is wide. The missile off the right foot of Shutback. Could have been something for Jones to possibly have trouble with. Dimopoulos for the Blue Devils also off the bench and in, the sophomore from Garden City, as the Lakers will try to advance. First time they've really gotten through the midfield over the past, what feels like 10 minutes or so. The Blue Devils have been applying an ample amount of pressure, and now they find themselves defending a bit here, trying to make something as Maddie Hall, the senior, at 5'2", but played back up. Here is Barnes looking, and now she'll lead it ahead for Sarah Trapp to attempt to win a race, and beating her out there was a combination of the ball and Alexis Orozco. And that'll wind down the clock. It was Sydney McClay putting her impression and her stamp on that first half of action. The freshman makes it 1-0 for the Blue Devils. We'll go to break, and we'll be right back on the other side of halftime here on the LTU Sports Network. And here we go. The second half commences on the LTU Sports Network. Madison Bologna, who scored her first collegiate goal earlier this week, got us underway, and now Roosevelt tries to work their way up, stymied there, and back chasing after it goes Cameron Williams. Shining brightly in the first half was Sydney McClay, who is the reason why this score is 1-0. Trying to work her way down goes Gutierrez. Sealed off and watched well there by a couple of white jerseys. 7 shots on goal in that first half to 1 in favor of the Blue Devils. Wozniak assisted on that McClay goal. Wozniak has been active on the home field, scored in that last home win over Shawnee State, and now snagging an assist here. Blue Devils had 23 shots on goal to just 2 for Shawnee State in that last home game that was played, and they followed up that act quite well. Find themselves defending here. Once again in goal, it's the freshman making her debut, Madison Turley from Romeo High School, with Rebecca Almondo's out. Renee Anderson from Snoqualmie, Washington, also out tonight. A highly anticipated scene here at the LTU Athletic Field, nearing closer to these lights being in full use as nightfall continues to descend. Silverman, the transfer from the University of Detroit Mercy, will safely feather it on back. Back up they go. Here is Bologna. Working it up here are the Lakers early on with Gutierrez, who worked very well down that right-hand side in the first half. Bologna will once again have it here, looking for a long, quick effort. On a fortuitous occasion, they'll lead down that left side. Here's Caitlin Mathers. She can be dangerous, looking to turn. Bologna. Weaving and navigating. Delivering. The header went out, now settled down. Bologna will chase after it, but it's too far ahead, and now in possession of Stephanie Matute, the freshman from Zion, Illinois, and Benson High School for the Lakers. One of 4 freshmen on that back line. You wonder how she will fare in this second half against this group of forwards for the Blue Devils, who appear to be aggressive early on here in the second half. Blue Devil forwards have shown their chemistry, shown their mental connection. Backline under pressure, under siege right now for the Lakers, looking to hold strong. Madison Smith and Lauren Shupp back in the vicinity there for the Blue Devils. And it'll be Smith corralling it, and she'll take the duties of getting us back underway. Intentions for Mather, but beating her out there was Cynthia Gutierrez, the senior from Burbank, Illinois, one of 2 seniors that can be found on that back line. Or she's versatile. She can be found in the midfield as well. Succeeding the role of the likes of Maria Narcy, Brenna Stewart, Anna Agbula in last year's midfield. Here comes Mather trying to work her way in. That'll set up a set-piece opportunity for the Blue Devils. One of the areas where head coach Andy Richards, who looks on, would like to see this team improve. Here's the corner, and couldn't quite find any white jerseys. But back out it goes for Silverman. Coach Richards on that far side to our right. The Blue Devils sitting down and looking on, flanked by his coaching staff. Ronald Hahn drawing up schemes for his Laker team. Lakers trying to stay compact on that left side. This will make it way all the way back for Erica Hoffman. As nightfall continues to settle in here at the LTU Athletic Field. Nice little touch there with momentum, but the proceedings were halted due to a nice job done by Cynthia Gutierrez. Things starting to open up a bit. The pace beginning to pick up a bit. Hand. Calderon. Quick, efficient touches in the midfield. The desire to get on the ball has been apparent for both teams throughout. The possession has favored Lawrence Tech. The shots on goal have favored Lawrence Tech. And the legitimate threatening chances have favored Lawrence Tech. Lakers have had their moments. Shining bright for them in that opening loss was their goalkeeper, Cara Jones, who was able to hold strong until the 99th minute when they were put away against St. Francis. Looking to avoid an 0-2 start are the Lakers. The Blue Devils hoping to improve to 3-1. Gutierrez. Silverman. Battle ensues. Down goes Silverman, and the whistles blow. Bologna. Here's Nybur. Looking. Drops it back. McClay looking for her second and couldn't squeak one through. Aisley Nassani for the Lakers. Shupback couldn't win that duel. Now Madison Smith finds it. The effort has been fun to watch for both of these teams here. It really has been through the first about 10 minutes or so here. A little bit of space opening up for Mather. She tries to make her way in. Edge of the area and couldn't quite put it there. A nice save, a nice effort made by Cara Jones. 45 minutes, 3 saves. In the opening loss for Cara Jones, it was Mather looking, searching, a heat-seeking missile down that right side. Caitlin Mather. Mather played in all 17 games as a freshman. Bologna coming off an outing where she saw her first collegiate goal. She'll look for Nyborg, the deadly forward down that left-hand side. Nyborg serpentining and navigating. Smith, Mather, turning. The fight continues, and that time it favors Roosevelt. As Nyborg was in with Smith and Mather, now Roosevelt. Here's Silverman coming in, chasing after it. Randy Jeanette back in now. There's a certain feeling, a certain aura as these lights begin to shine brighter. The energy and the anticipation for this moment was palpably coming in, and now you can truly feel it. The Blue Devils lead it 1-0 at the moment, hanging on and applying most of the pressure. They still appear to be in control. Silverman, now Shupback. Aggressive and useful. Now here's Madison Smith. Turning. Couldn't quite make her way past there. Nice effort, though, from Smith, the transfer from the University of Illinois Chicago, who has seen some significant time in this match and has over the past few outings. Smith, a Bloomfield Hills native, high school in Minnesota, appeared in 4 games with the Flames last season. It's the Lakers trying to desperately make their way out of their own half here. Randy Jeanette. Up ahead, Laura Silverman. Quick flash there, favors Shupback. Here comes Smith, looking and battling. And that'll favor the Blue Devils. As the pace continues to pick up, the space continues to open up in the midfield, sparking some aesthetically pleasing runs on both sides, really. Blue Devils have done a nice job of receiving passes on the turn, those forward passes in the midfield, the key forward passes. We haven't really seen any ball watching out there, if any. Here's Silverman, back to Smith. Now goes Shupback, and Abby Hand will try to turn it back up for Nisani. Turns, but that time, the opposite of what I just spoke of a few seconds ago there, had to kind of turn with her back to the marker and couldn't quite have enough time to make that key turn. Now looking, here comes McClay. Back for Silverman. Down that left-hand side goes Nyborg. A little bit of pressure here. Edge of the area is Bologna. The shot, and into the belly of the goalkeeper. Cara Jones, the senior, steps up there in the moment, keeping it 1-0. Obviously important here, approaching the final 30. Here we are in this 10th minute. Of the second half. Substitutions coming here. McClay races off for a breather. Mather heads back in. Ample options off the bench. Smith will head out as well. Certainly deserving the breathers that they're getting here. Brennan Sullivan back in on the Roosevelt side of things. Much needed senior presence in a game like this. Alexis Kane tried to work it on forward. Here's Kane once more, dueling with Silverman. Hard fought battle. Can Mather break her way free? Looking to step up, and defensively there was Alexis Orozco, the junior from Schaumburg, Illinois, stopping any proceedings, any possibilities, any chances there for Mather. But the Blue Devils will have the favor once more. And another substitution here. Checking out goes Shupback. Heading in is Sarah Trapp with a boost of energy. Off the bench, she goes flying down after a collision. Silverman. Looking for room. Trapp. Nice little tap there. Silverman made a run. And a nice effort down that right-hand side. Back it goes now. Racing after it goes Jeanette. She'll settle it down, trying to turn and look with her back to her marker now. That's Gisani on the defensive effort. She's able to work it up ahead, but springs on back down. Now there goes Gutierrez. Nisani coming in on a last-minute effort, and a well-done last-minute effort was Sydney Everett's, the junior from Dansville, Michigan, the Jackson College transfer, nursing major from Jackson College. Started in all 16 games that she played as a freshman at Jackson. Hoping to make her impression as a Blue Devil. Did a nice job to make a defensive impression on this crowd, who was able to watch their Blue Devils on what is a true home field advantage for the first time this season. Here in what is the third of 10 women's soccer broadcasts that we'll have right here on the LTU Sports Network and right here from the LTU athletic field. Newly installed, beautiful press box that we are currently residing in. These fans loving it. The new seats, the new lights, the new video board. Truly feels like a different atmosphere. Truly feels like the growth has really taken place here at Lawrence Tech in terms of athletics. 5 club teams in 2011, now up to 26 varsity teams, and teams that work hard every day and continue to thrive. Andy Richards' group, they've put together another admirable performance here. Another corner coming here. They had 4 against Rio Grande, and they've increased that number already this afternoon. Here's Barnes! Hooks off the top of the net. Alexis Barnes creating a threat and almost capitalizing there. Barnes turning now. Barnes, Sarah Trapp, looking and leading Madison Bologna. Making a run there was Wozniak, in, who had such a productive first half, looking for intentions there. Once again, hooking left, and out to make the save went Cara Jones. Nightfall has fully descended here at the newly renovated LTU athletic field, and these bright lights are in full use on what is a bright night here for the Blue Devils. A bright match has unfolded in front of our eyes. Still 1-0, approaching the final 20 minutes. It was Sydney McClay in the first half. She's been the difference maker. Not on the field at the moment, but threatening. Here goes Nyborg. Such a well-energized player. Such a well-crafted player. Such a well-conditioned team the Blue Devils have been. That was one of the focuses in the off-season and in the preseason camp. One of the tough things, obviously, at this level, you can't bring these girls in over the summer, but those preseason workouts are imperative and certainly invaluable. Lofting in, there goes Trapp, looking to settle things down. Congested on that right-hand side. Looking for room goes Silverman. Bologna strips. Fans wanted a call. Bologna hit the deck, and that call does come in.
Cheap shot!
Right to Trapp there, off the head and onto the foot of Roscoe. Lakers looking to work their way through the midfield. The only realistic option there was Niasani, and she was well back. At least a good 8 yards off the ball. Barnes, Blue Devils quickly transitioning the other way. Trapped down that right-hand side, and that'll lead her on out of bounds. Sarah Trapp. Trapp once more, and there goes Wozniak, making a run, curling and hooking. Niasani. Chased after and sought after by Randy Jeanette, who did a nice job to hustle on back. One thing that Blue Devil backline does such a nice job of getting back and fighting back defensively when it's necessary. They can press up, and they can also get back when they need to. Lauren Wozniak. Outdueled that time by Cynthia Gutierrez. Nice job in that defensive mid-roll by Gutierrez. She do that really for most of the season for this Roosevelt team. Really is a beautiful scene right now here at the LTU Athletic Field. A very comfortable night as the supporters continue to enjoy it. Much more comfortable than Tuesday's hot and muggy day at Rio Grande. Really tested the conditioning of this Blue Devil squad in that 2-1 loss that was suffered on Tuesday. Rio Grande struck first in that affair.
Now coming in for Roosevelt, number 4, Maddie Hall.
Maddie Hall makes her way back in for the Lakers. Madison Bologna's goal tied things up at 1 apiece for the Blue Devils against Rio Grande, but in the 60th minute, it was Peyton Davis who had 2 goals for Rio Grande. And that ended up being the decider. Streaking down that left-hand side goes Nybor, carrying a spirit of adventure and a bit of momentum and a bit of energy. Here's Mather. That one off the back leg of Gutierrez. It'll spring on back Laura Silverman. In the vicinity is Mather once more. Gotten off to such a hot start this year. Scored what was essentially the clincher versus Huntington, and what was essentially the clincher versus Shawnee State. Trap, crossfield ball, far post. Mather gives chase after it. Barnes waiting back patiently. She'll look to hold this in. With her head up, she finds Jeanette. On back, Barnes delivers with haste and energy. Another corner opportunity coming here for Lawrence Tech. Set up, the delivery. Mather in the vicinity. Low header opportunity. Couldn't quite settle it down. Wozniak was there and had intentions. Now a bit of a race down the field for it. There goes Everett. She won that ball and did a nice job of doing it. Silverman, Barnes, Bologna, down ahead for Trapp, a little bit of open space, moving in with her is Wozniak! On goal, Wozniak in the vicinity, a near opportunity there, just quite missed out on. Still 1-0 as we're just about left with 15 minutes here in what's been a thrilling matchup. Collision there. Wozniak moved her way in quite aggressively. Had intentions to break up what could have been, what should have been a routine play, but Wozniak had other ideas. McClay, the goal scorer, the lone goal scorer, makes her way back out onto the field. To the applaud of a delighted crowd. Mentioned the crowd and the new LTU student section, the Points, making their presence felt. They've titled themselves the Points. They'll be back in action tomorrow afternoon for the first football game since 1946, and the first one ever played here on the Lawrence Tech University campus in Southfield. Southfield's college football team will be coming your way tomorrow here on LTSN at 1 p.m. We'll have that broadcast for you, the highly anticipated broadcast, a week of milestones here on LTSN. Bit of a delay here. Looks like Jones and Abby Hands had a discussion. Shupback will head to the bench. Last minute substitutions being made in here for the Blue Devils. That was our delay, and McClay will stay on. Appeared as though she thought she might have been called off, but they'll wave her back out as head coach Andy Richards looks on from that Blue Devils sideline. Ronald Hahn hoping his team can find a way to produce an equalizer, a game in which we can't understate their performance defensively, their ability to hold on here. It's still down just 1-0. Certainly can't afford another one to go in the back of their net. The Blue Devils have had chances. But it's the Lakers in need of the engineering of something here. McClay looking ahead with speed. Here's Wozniak carving her way in as McClay decided to take the shot, and it was stymied there with the right hand of Kiara Jones. Coming up big once again is Jones, proving that she could possibly be a bright spot for this Laker team. Pretty good opportunity there for the Blue Devils, a promising one that couldn't quite get capitalized on. We were looking at the wonderful picture being produced by our excellent team from state champs in the Lawrence Tech Athletic Department, putting together an excellent production tonight here in what is such a big game on campus. Students have come, fans have come, parents have come, working right in. Here's Mather, working, shooting, and another big save on a big chance there. Holding her hands on her head in disbelief there was Mather, as she appeared to have a golden opportunity, but it will produce another corner here. And they'll just play it safely back on out. Bologna working her way in, the shot. Calm and poise. Jones, the senior goalkeeper, looking like a senior, but time is dwindling for the Lakers with under 12 to play now here in this final half of regulation. Sydney McClay is the reason why it's 1-0. Now turning, a little bit of open space. It's Brennan Sullivan, the senior from Fenton, Michigan. One of the Michiganders on this Roosevelt roster. The Lakers have come up from Chicago and looking to make an imprint The lead down here for Alexis Kane. The freshman working into that corner, turning, keeping it in play, but hustling over and hunting it down went Alexis Barnes, a sophomore from Middleville, Michigan. Took a pair of corner kicks in the final minutes versus Rio Grande, down 2-1, had an assist as well, did Barnes. Those final minutes had some chances, did the Blue Devils, to possibly knot things up. Although the Blue Devils now looking to bounce back and in position to do that if they can hang on this final 10.5 minutes. Desire from both teams has been evident throughout. Header won there by the Lakers. We'll try to play it back. Now it's Kane, the freshman. Drops it back for the trailer. That's Morgan Erickson, the senior. Youth to veteran. Delivered back and on out. Wozniak will turn. Get it in front of her. Streaking down is McClay. Back is Nybor. The trailer is Nybor. McClay works her way in. Shoots! Another save. It's Jones. You feel as though this crowd just is waiting to erupt, and these fans and these players just feel like they've been so close, but not unable to put one in the back of the net. Once again, though, here, producing a corner. They've been so close. They'll go with the similar strategy from last time as Bologna simply works it back on to Nybor. They'll play it in the vicinity of that penalty area. Now in, ooh, it almost slipped loose. No play, though, there made from Barnes. Rolled back on, and it might have been an easier save than it looked from up here in the press box for Cara Jones. 8:58 to go now. Silverman. Bologna. Back to Silverman. She'll settle things down in the midfield. Nice awareness there on display. This is Nybor. Jeanette. Morgan Erickson. And now back down. Could have sprung a possible 2-on-1. Wozniak looks to work her way free. Looked as though there might have been something developing, but those couple of hops of the ball that went in an odd angle to the left might have disrupted a possibility of a chance there. Blue Devils had the numbers momentarily. Lawrence Tech has won all 3 games that these teams have played. Most recent came in 2016. New teams, though, now, new mindsets, new season. An early start to the season. Always good to have a positive early start to a season. And the Blue Devils can improve to 3-1 if they can hang on for another 6.5 minutes. They're in the position to do that right now, applying the pressure. There goes Sydney McClay. Seats have filled up here at the LTU Athletic Field. We expect a sellout and possibly some excess bodies here tomorrow afternoon. Once again, 1 p.m. We'll have that broadcast live for you here on the LTU Sports Network. Multiple cameras set up. Our excellent production staff. Should be a fun one. Mather up to Barnes. Heady play there by Barnes. Lovely footing. The freshman goalkeeper in search of a clean sheet, making her debut, Madison Turley. It would be quite the debut if she can hold, and obviously also credit to that excellent LTU back line and the forwards. Midfielders have really advanced the ball quite well with those key passes, but working here are the Lakers. Blue Devils trying to hold their ground, and they do just that, laying out bodies and laying it out on the line with 5 minutes to play. Help up from her teammates, and deservedly so. That was Erica Hoffman, the freshman. One of the new faces in this LTU soccer program. One of 8 freshmen on the roster, one of the many new faces. Looking to adjust early, looking to find their way, and looking to make impressions. Can certainly do it there in that type of fashion if you're Erica Hoffman, laying your body out on the line with under 5 minutes to play. Silverman will be the architect here. You can just feel the grittiness of this matchup despite how open it's felt at times in the midfield. They've been quite ferocious in those midfield battles. You can just take a look at the expressions on the players' faces. Both of these teams really want it. 0-2, not the start that the Lakers desire, and they'll move down here with a sense of adventure. The Blue Devils looking to work their way out, turning and attempting a shot there was Kane. Back it goes. Headed out there by Silverman, and in desperate times. Nice job to clear. McClay closing. Who can find it? Header once more from Silverman. Final 3 minutes. Bologna. McClay. Wozniak streaking with her. Couple of very good forwards. McClay turns. Anxious moments for the woman in green. Anxious moments for the woman in white as well. LTU knows how close a tie game can get to possibly changing and turning into a game that is tied. They had a couple of chances in the final few minutes against Rio Grande, and a couple of corners. Jeanette. 80 seconds to play. Desperately chasing after it. There goes Cynthia Gutierrez.
One minute remaining in the second half.
Sullivan. Final 40 seconds we approach now. A little bit of open spaces here. Blue Devils will sit back and play it cautiously. Lakers work their way through the midfield. Now pressing up high and closing quickly. It's Mather. And the Blue Devils are able to win that battle as the clock continues to tick. A sense of urgency. Delivered out. Time is dwindling.
9, 8, 7,
Final 5 seconds.
4, 3, 2, 1.
And that'll wrap things up. The fans will rise to their feet. And the first ever Under the Lights sporting event in Lawrence Tech history goes to the Blue Devils. A score of 1-0 is the final. It was Sydney McClay who made it 1-0 in that first half. The Blue Devils held strong defensively, continued to apply the pressure on the offensive side of things, and this newly installed 3-5-2 formation showed this afternoon. Head coach Andy Richards and his squad will go back to practice, back to the lab. Roosevelt heads back to Chicago at 0-2 on the season. Once again, 1-0 your final. It was a pleasure to bring it to you. A special Friday night, no doubt, here at the LTU Athletic Field as the lights shined bright on the Blue Devils. 1-0 your final. We'll see you right back here tomorrow at 1 p.m. for Lawrence Tech football here on the LTU Sports Network. Saying so long and hoping you have a great night. I'm Jason Ross Jr.